walk in. That's what the Lester Glenn experience is all about.
Experience the way car buying should be. Experience Lester Glenn.
Governor Christie will begin a second term with talk of tax cuts and education reforms, two items he has not had much success getting through a Democratic legislature.
I did not seek a second term to do small things. I sought a second term to finish the job. Now watch me do it.
Senate President Sweeney, a frequent ally of the governor in the past, has already proclaimed any tax cut dead, and the Assembly has not warmed to education reforms. Despite Christie's landslide win, he will still face a Democratic legislature, as Republicans failed to pick up even a single seat in the Senate.
The Republicans didn't win this year, so they got to be thinking, oh my God, what's next?
No matter what the governor chooses to pursue as an agenda, the speculation over a possible White House bid will overshadow everything he does and says. Christie is clearly the frontrunner for the GOP nomination after winning big in a Democratic state and capturing almost every traditional Democratic voting bloc. Potential rivals for the nomination, like Rand Paul and Marco Rubio, immediately began taking potshots at Christie's win and his conservative credentials.
We need moderates like Chris Christie who can win in New Jersey in our party. What that means about the national party, I'm not sure there's an answer, but we do need moderates like Chris Christie in the party.
I'm a conservative, and I've governed as a conservative in this state, and I think that's what's led to some people disagreeing with me.
Well, it's important to remember every race is particular to the state that it's run in. So there are factors in New Jersey that I think are individual to that race, and clearly he was able to speak to that and to the hopes and aspirations of people within New Jersey.
You have to have a huge ego, right? Say, oh, please, it's such a burden for you to be speculating about me being the leader of the free world. Stop, I'm so burdened.
And Christie has one more leg up on any potential national competition. As the new chairman of the Republican Governors Association, Christie will be meeting face-to-face with the big money donors he will need to secure a possible White House bid. But for now, for tonight, the focus is on New Jersey, the state still struggling in economic recovery, still struggling to create jobs, and provide tax relief to a population being crushed by the heaviest burden in the nation. Can Christie keep the focus squarely on the Garden State? Can he once again outmaneuver New Jersey Democrats to enact real reforms? Will a second term finally bring tax relief? Ask the Governor starts now. Governor, good evening. Congratulations on the election. Welcome back into our studios.
Happy to be back, Eric. Thank you very much.
You're looking good. You do look re-energized. You got a little extra spring in your step.
Yeah, well, an election victory will do that for you.
Yeah.
And it was incredibly, gratifying evening. Somebody asked me that night, how did it feel? And what I said was the way it really feels is so affirming of the work. Listen, some people like me, some people don't, and some people agree with me on certain things and they don't. But I think that what I really felt on election night was a real affirmation of the effort that I think people know that I put in every day and the results that we got as a result. And so it was a pretty amazing evening and one that, I won't forget the rest of my life. It was pretty great. But as I told you on the way in tonight, this is my last official act before I finally go on vacation post-campaign, post-election. I'm going on vacation tomorrow with Mary Pat and the kids for the rest of the week. And so for all those of you who are out there, there is no idea what may happen tonight. This could get very interesting as I get punchier into the evening.
Are you having Thanksgiving then away?
We are.
Oh wow,
we are. We did that. We did that 4 years ago.
Yeah.
Just because of the kids' schedules. I now have 4 children in 4 different schools.
Yeah.
And so Thanksgiving is one of the only times where they have a consistent break. Close to the election.
Sure.
So that's why we're doing it. I don't think we don't. I think we're both going to miss kind of being with the rest of our family on Thanksgiving, but we also all 6 of us need some time away.
I've done that with the kids a couple of times, and it can be a really nice break. To get away. It's been a busy month for you already after the election. You're now the head of the Republican Governors Association.
I am.
There are 32 governors races next
36 governors
36
races.
governors
Yep,
races
36 governors.
Year. So what do you see your role in those races? I know you'll be doing a certain amount of campaigning for the candidates involved, but what do you see? What do you bring to the table now as somebody who's won in a state like New Jersey?
Well, my number one role is fundraising, and is to raise money for the RGA, and then to be able to utilize that money in races where we believe we can make a difference for the Republican candidate for governor. So that's the number one job of the RGA chairman, is to raise money. The second job is, where appropriate, to give strategic advice and counsel to the candidates. And in some races we cannot do that because we're not allowed by state law to coordinate with them.
Okay.
But in some races we can. And in those places where we can, is to give strategic advice. And the third is to appear, to come into those states and campaign with the candidate and work with them and try to help raise their profile, raise more attention and put them in a positive light based upon what's happened here. So those are basically the three roles in descending order.
I know better than to ask you the question that everybody asks you,
sure,
whether you are going to run for president.
Right.
But this did lead to some speculation, because as with fundraising, you're going to be meeting with some pretty heavy hitters that are going to help shape your party potentially moving into 2016.
Yeah, well, but I mean, my job is to raise money to spend immediately on governor's races across the country. And so, this is not a situation where I'm going to be raising money for myself or anything like that. This is all going to be about the RGA and about electing and re-electing Republican governors. And listen, Eric, I understand about the speculation. And as you and I know, we've gone through this a lot together over the years on this show. There's been speculation about me running for president probably since the fall of 2010.
Yeah.
And so, that's just the way it goes. And I didn't mean to sound kind of flippant about it in the press conference I did the day after the election, but like I'm used to this now, as used to it as you can get about the speculation, and it just won't affect me. I mean, if I ultimately make a decision to run for president or not, I'll make that decision when I think I need to, and not a minute before.
Does it concern you at all, or your staff at all, that you've got a lot of things on your plate right now, and you're going to be doing a certain amount of traveling for the RGA? Any concern about being able to meet out all your responsibilities and get that done?
No, I mean, as you know, I've always done a decent amount of traveling in this job because I've been somebody who's been in demand in 2010 and in 2012 as a campaigner, both for governors in 2010 and then in 2012 for Mitt Romney. Mm-hmm. So I've always done a fair amount of traveling. Secondly, I have a really good lieutenant governor who's experienced now and can handle things in my absence. And it's not like the old days, Eric, where, the governor left the state and, he had to use Pony Express to get a message back on what the governor might want. And it could be days before the word could get back. So you needed someone to stand in their place. I mean, lieutenant governor can handle, things when I'm gone, and I'm only a cell phone call away to talk to her or to my staff about anything that's going on. And so a little bit of this is a little bit nostalgic. It's not that way anymore. I mean, I only wish I could ever be out of touch, where I could really, be away and not have to worry about being touched by what's happening in the state. So, it's about being disciplined, and I'm not going to, believe me, I'm not going to accept every invitation I get. A fraction of them I'll be able to accept, and I'll keep my traveling down to what I think will be necessary to be able to do the job for the RGA. But my most important job is being governor, and that will be my priority. And the other things will take a back seat to professionally to me doing my job as governor. So it'll just be a new set of challenges and a little bit of a different balancing act for the next year, but I'm not all that worried about it.
You mentioned that you're kind of over all the speculation, because we have been talking about this for years, and you're going away with your kids, over Thanksgiving. Are they over that? Because that's what I always think about is, how do your kids handle that? They see you on the cover of Time. They see you as a line in The Simpsons. They see you on Michael J. Fox. They see you, are they over the dad as a celebrity thing?
Pretty much, yeah. I mean, they think it's kind of funny, and they don't view me any differently. Like, they know other people view me differently, and they're aware of the circumstances. But their attitude is kind of like, I'm dad, and it's never really changed. And I think a lot of that goes back to us not moving when I got elected, and staying in the same house. They're with the same kids in the same schools, and so their lives don't get affected every day by it. It's more when they're with me out someplace. It's, Bridget now takes pictures. She's very good with an iPhone now, too, at 10 years old. And she'll take pictures of folks with me. And I try to make them a part of it so that they don't feel put upon by it.
But do they look forward to, like, the upcoming week where you can be just dad, where you don't have to be some guy that might run for president, some guy that's governor, some guy that's in demand?
Oh, yeah. I think they like when I'm not distracted.
Yeah.
I think that's probably the best way to put it. When I'm distracted either by the cell phone or by people coming up to the table at a restaurant and wanting to say hello, or, walking down the street someplace and being stopped all the time, it takes away from my attention to them. And I think they miss that.
Yeah.
And that's the part where if there's any little jealousy that goes on, it's that where, that I continue to be distracted. But, the fact is that that's part of my job to try to control that as much as possible.
And you've given them a voice, have you not, in the decisions that you make in terms of your career path? I mean, to a certain extent?
Well, yeah. I mean, they get to express their opinions. They have no vote.
Yeah. Yeah.
They have no vote. Absolutely, it's not like Mary Pat and I go into a room, into the cone of silence, and talk about these things. These things that, as they usually are, I think tonight, at least they told me that's what they're going to be doing, that they're sitting around the dinner table right now with this on the laptop, watching me go through this. So I'm sure this is giving them a lot of fun, too, to be giggling about this, about that, having to explain how they're, how they play a role in the decisions. But the role they play is, kind of personified by election night.
Yeah.
All four of them spoke on election night, and they all have a voice. And that's not only outside, but inside the family, too. And they don't hesitate to express themselves, especially to Mary Pat, about me. And then if they really think that I'm doing something that, either they like a lot or they don't like, they'll come to me, too. So
your daughter was adorable on stage. Well, she's probably getting too old to be called adorable. She probably don't like that anymore. But, it was really nice watching your kids on stage with you.
Well, we really thought that would be a great thing for them to introduce the video and introduce us that night, because it really has been a family adventure the last 4 years.
I bet.
And that's the way Sarah introduced it at the end, like, take a look now at a video that's about what it's been like to be in our family the last 4 years.
Yeah.
And, when you think about it, Eric, it has been an incredibly monumental time in New Jersey. And in a lot of ways, the last year has been exhausting. I mean, between Superstorm Sandy and a re-election campaign, all within the same year.
I've seen some of those nights where you've come in here and you're just, you can tell.
Yeah, it's been an exhausting year. I'm looking forward to this vacation. I'm looking forward to using the holiday season to wind down a little bit and get my batteries recharged for a new 4 years. And I think, sometimes in this job, you forget that, you have to give yourself some time. And I think I've been so intent on doing this job at full speed all the time that I have at times forgotten that I do need to give myself a little bit of time to relax. And part of that's just my personality, and part of it is the circumstances that I've been confronting over the last 4 years.
Yeah.
A lot of them outside my control that just don't permit you to relax because you have a job to do. So it's been very interesting. But all of that under consideration, all of it, I'm thrilled to have been reelected. It's an incredibly affirming thing. I'm really looking forward. I love the job. I'm looking forward to continuing to do it. And even with all the other, opportunities and responsibilities that I have, it's still a pretty amazing thing for me that I'm actually the governor.
Well, we're going to make you work for about another 45 minutes,
all right,
and then you can go on vacation.
I'm ready.
Let's begin with Annabella in East Hanover. Anna, you're on New Jersey 101.5 with Governor Chris Christie. Hi, Anna.
Hi, thank you so much for taking my call.
Thank you, Anna.
I have two disabled children. They were born with muscular dystrophy.
How old are they, Anna?
12 and 10.
Okay.
My son, who's 10, is also autistic. So basically, they're very, very medically involved. We've been very fortunate to have some great insurance over the last several years as their disease has progressed and required more care. And my husband changed jobs, and now our new insurance does not provide many benefits, including private duty nursing that my son has been getting consistently and has basically kept him at the state he's in and out of the hospital. I filed for Medicaid, essentially, through the CRPD waiver under the Division of Disability Services, only to find out that they service 300 slots at one time for both adults and children. And we're a middle-class family, and I've made many calls, both to the Children's System of Care, to the Division of Disability Services, and I'm basically told this is the only non-income-based program that's out there for children under 18 before they can actually qualify themselves to get Medicaid.
Mm-hmm.
So why are we limiting this program, and are there any other programs? Because now we're facing hundreds of thousands of dollars in nursing costs to try to keep, the same level of care that we've worked so hard to provide for these kids.
Well, Anna, I do think that there are other programs that are available to you, and what we're going to do is get both Jennifer Velez's office, who's the Commissioner of Human Services, and Allison Blake, who's the Commissioner of Children and Families, to reach out to you tomorrow and walk you through it. It is kind of a maze and at times difficult, and I know frustrating, but in this administration, we've enhanced the services to families with children with developmental disabilities in a very significant way, and especially in the area of autism, which one of your children, as you mentioned, have autism in addition to the challenges that they face from muscular dystrophy. So we've enhanced these programs significantly. Again, I always hesitate to give opinions on your particular set of circumstances and whether or not we have a program that will particularly fit yours. But what you'll be guaranteed of is that tomorrow you will hear from both commissioners, Commissioner Blake and Commissioner Velez's offices, and they'll walk you through it. And also the Department of Health has a county-based case management program for kids with special needs that might be able to help with some things. So we'll have all these folks reach out to you tomorrow. We'll put the power of the governor's office behind your quest on this, and hopefully we'll get you some answers that'll help you and help your children. We'll make sure that you get every advantage that you can from the comprehensive waiver that we approved and got approved by the federal government in the last year, and that's been helping a lot of folks have different opportunities. So, Annabelle, I am sympathetic to your plight, and we're going to try to see what we can do tomorrow to help you out and walk you through the maze.
Excellent. Debbie in Brick, you're on Ask the Governor with Chris Christie. Hi, Debbie.
Good evening. Hi. Good evening, Governor. Hi, I'm Debbie from Brick, and I've actually had the opportunity to meet you twice recently.
Okay.
Once on Valencia Drive in Brick, and at the year anniversary of Sandy at the firehouse in Seaside.
Sure.
Mark, remember I had the T-shirt?
Yep, absolutely.
Yep, okay. My question to you is it possible to waive the affordable housing fee for people affected by Superstorm Sandy who were forced to knock down their house because it was deemed substantially damaged?
Yep. Well, Debbie, this is a part of the ongoing fight that I'm having with the state legislature regarding COA and the Mount Laurel decision. And I have attempted a number of times to get to a place where we can fix this system. But unfortunately, Democrats in the state assembly simply do not want to believe that this system that is just sucking the life out of business in the state and not providing any type of substantial increase in affordable housing. They continue to want to stand by this program. So you're going to hear us fighting a lot about this over the course of the next number of months, whether they would do a separate piece of legislation just for Sandy victims to waive the affordable housing fee. I would suggest that you call your state legislators and get them on the stick to sponsor it. And it's certainly something that I would consider. But what I'd rather do, would be to reform the system completely. And listen, the Council on Affordable Housing doesn't work. We've had a Democratic legislature that's been continued to cling to this liberal orthodoxy, despite the damage that they've seen it do to the state's economy and the fact that it doesn't bring any real affordable housing to the state. And then you have a Supreme Court who's decided that they're a legislature and not a court. And the activist decision written by the Chief Justice back this past summer was incredibly disappointing. And so, we're going to continue to work on it, Debbie. I don't have a good answer for you at the moment, but I'm going to continue to push to try to change it as I've been pushing for the last 4 years. There's certain things I can do on my own and certain things that I need help. This is one where I need help.
You've already talked about COA. You've also talked about tax cuts in a second term. Senate President Sweeney came right out and said last week, no, he just doesn't believe we have the money for it. So what's next with the idea of tax relief?
Well, listen, it's a shame that Senator Sweeney believes that that there's not any spending that can be cut in state government to make tax cuts more affordable. What he always says is, well, there's not the revenue there. Well, why don't we try cut spending? And that's what I'm going to try to do. And, the legislature have to decide. Are they on the side of the taxpayer or are they on the side of every government program that we have operating right now? You see, the Democrats set up a false choice. The false choice is that the only way we can cut taxes is if revenue increases. What they don't understand is that the only way revenue is going to increase is for us to stimulate the private sector economy in this state. And the way to do that, in my view, is lower taxes and lower regulation. So it's time for him to, cut spending with me. Let's do it together.
Well, you've worked well together in the past.
I have no reason to believe we won't be able to do it now. But, it's the Democratic mindset, and that's what Steve was talking from. The Democratic mindset is there's never a program that can be cut. Never. Do you ever hear those guys come on this airwaves and say, here are the programs I'd like to cut or eliminate? Ever? No. What they're always talking about is which programs to make bigger or new ones they want to create. Yeah. So this is just a different mindset, and this is why it's good for the people in New Jersey that they return to Republican to the governorship. Because if this state were to be under just Democratic rule, let me tell you something, there'd be no bipartisanship. We've seen that before. We saw it in the Corzine years, the Cody years, and the McGreevey years. And what did we get? We got 100-plus tax increases, fee increases. We got exploding spending because that's what they do. So it's good that we have this balance.
Do you anticipate then that you will include a tax cut in the next budget that you're putting together?
We'll have to see. I mean, I heard my chief economic advisor, Bob Grady, say he thinks that's what should be done. I take Bob's advice seriously. The lieutenant governor is obviously, I heard from a speech this week, on board with a tax cut. And I'm going to have to see. We're in the midst of just beginning. I just had my second meeting last week on the FY15 budget. So it's November. I have to submit that in February. So we got some time.
Yeah.
And see how things develop. And we're going to look at ways to cut back spending. Now, remember something, Eric. We're also the responsible administration. Unlike all the Democratic legislators and governors before me who never made any pension payments, we're due to increase the pension payment this year again by somewhere between $600 and $700 million to get it up to over 2.3 to 2.4 billion dollars. Remember, when I walked in the door, that payment was zero.
Yeah.
So imagine you're now adding $2.4 billion in spending that does nothing for the economy. So, but we're doing it because we have a responsibility and obligation to be fiscally responsible and make these payments. But that's a huge number. Think about that. That our budget is still lower than John Corzine's budget in 2008, yet this year we're making $1.7 billion worth of payments that they were making none of back before. So let's start having a conversation about cutting back the size and scope of government. We talked about this during the campaign, and I won 61% of the vote. And if you listen to I love the legislators saying, well, we got reelected too. Well, I watched those races. You know what they ran on? We agree with Governor Christie.
Yeah.
We work with Governor Christie. So they have no mandate from this election separate from mine. I want everyone out there to hear that. Elections have consequences. Yes, they do. And here's the consequence. When I run on my platform and the Democrats run on a platform that says, and this is those folks who are at risk in the swing districts, every one of them, Van Drew, Whalen, Greenstein, Barnes,
even Sweeney
Gordon,
to a certain extent.
Sweeney to an extent, Gordon. They all ran on a platform. We work with the governor. We work across the aisle with the governor. Well, let's see now. Because they didn't articulate any other message other than we work with the governor. So now let's see. Because they can't claim a mandate for anything. Did they run on obstructionism of the Supreme Court? No. Did they run in blocking all my other nominations? No. Did they run on increasing taxes? No. Did they run on increasing spending? No. Did they run on creating new programs and making the government bigger? No. They ran on, we work with the governor. Well, okay now. Time to work with the governor. And that's what they're going to be hearing from me. Their mandate, to the extent they have any, is to work with me. That's it. They ran on nothing else. Go back and look at their literature. Go back and listen to their TV commercials and radio commercials. Beside attacking their opponent, that's all they talked about.
It's going to be a very interesting couple of months.
Well, I mean, listen, all I want them to do is to be true to the people who voted for them. The people who voted for them obviously came to the conclusion there was not need for change because these guys say they're working with the governor. Well, now, don't come back in now and pull the bait and switch on people and say, oh, well, we were just saying that to get elected. We didn't really mean it. Now we're going to just go back to being regular old Democrats. You want bipartisanship? Let's go. And your agenda, articulated in the election and affirmed by the results, was we're going to work with the governor. And the governor ran on cutting taxes. The governor ran on reforming education specifically. And so that's what the people voted for. So let's see what happens.
Rich in Manalapan, you're on Ask the Governor with Chris Christie. Hi, Rich.
Oh, this is Rich DeSantis from Manalapan. I own racehorses, and I'm inviting you down to Gateway Farm on Route 30 in Manalapan to come to see the workers that work on the horse. Everybody thinks a horse runs around and it's over, but they have to do a lot of exercise, and there's a lot of work.
Great.
It's a dangerous, what?
Great.
It's a dangerous sport. But the story is I'm trying to get to you is the Meadowlands. I was there, and it was a great grand opening, and snow was coming down. It was like New Year's Eve. I want to know why the other Meadowlands is closed, where we could open a casino.
What do you mean? What other Meadowlands is closed?
The other Grand Center. Why can't we open a casino there now?
Well, because the Constitution of New Jersey doesn't allow you to. The Constitution of New Jersey says that we can have casino gambling in one place and one place only, and that's Atlantic City. That's why.
Times are changing. New York is doing it.
Okay. Well, that's listen, Rich. That's your opinion. Obviously, an opinion that comes from self-interest, because you like to have that there to draw more people there to make the horse racing more valuable. I get it. The people of New Jersey, I don't think, are clamoring for casino gambling in a lot of other places.
We can barely support what we have at Atlantic City now.
Now, listen. Again, I said 3 years ago that I would have a 5-year plan to support Atlantic City.
Mm-hmm.
We're 3 years into it now. And I said thereafter, we could reopen the discussion of whether we have casino gaming anyplace else in New Jersey. And we'll see. There's lots of different ways stuff like this can be done or not done. And, but here's the only way it can happen is if there's a constitutional amendment. And the only way the constitutional amendment is going to happen is if the legislature does it. The governor plays no role, as we just learned with the minimum wage, in amending New Jersey's constitution.
Mm-hmm.
Only the legislature and the voters play a role in that, Rich. So if you want to get that, call Steve Sweeney and call Vincent Prieto, the new speaker, and see if they have any appetite for casino gaming anyplace else other than Atlantic City.
Happy with the rollout of internet gambling so far?
Hard to tell.
Yeah.
It's a limited rollout right now, just testing it. I haven't heard any bad news back so far on the test, and I think it sounds like we may be ready.
I think everybody but the the Golden Nugget? Everybody that was approved for the test market got approved, with the exception of I think one.
Yeah, I think there was one. I can't remember what
Golden
one
Nugget.
Was it Golden Nugget?
Yeah.
So I think we're ready to roll it out, and let's see how it goes. I think it's going to be very exciting for New Jersey. I think it's a great opportunity for folks to game in a different way, and I think it will benefit the casinos in Atlantic City and the companies that own those casinos. So we'll see what happens.
All right. We are going to pause for 60 seconds to allow our stations to identify themselves. This is Ask the Governor on the Town Square News Network. Tonight's program is presented by the Lester Glenn family of dealerships. Ask the Governor is being heard across the Town Square News Network.
Hi, this is Adam Kraushar from Lester Glenn Auto Group. We are proud to sponsor Ask the Governor. It's your chance to talk to Governor Christie directly and tell him how you feel. The chance to find out how and why decisions are made and address issues directly. Good things are happening in New Jersey, and we are happy to announce that Lester Glenn has now added Ford to our family of dealerships. Lester Glenn Ford is on Route 35 in Ocean Township in Monmouth County. The Lester Glenn Auto Group continues to be New Jersey's fastest growing and largest auto dealership in the state, and we have been in business in Ocean and now Monmouth County for 57 years. In the last 5 years alone, we've grown to 11 dealerships with 9 locations and employ close to 500 people. One thing is certain, we always remember what got us here and never take it for granted. It's where you, the customer, is treated with dignity and respect from the moment you walk in. That's what the Lester Glenn experience is all about.
Experience the way car buying should be. Experience Lester Glenn.
To talk to Governor Chris Christie, call 1-800-283-1015 and tell us your thoughts and chat with other listeners on our live interactive blog. Additional support for Ask the Governor made possible by the Independent Insurance Agents of New Jersey. To find a Trusted Choice insurance agent near you, visit trustedchoice.com and discover what it's like to be a person, not a policy number. And AmeriHealth New Jersey. Feeling stressed about the healthcare law? Well, AmeriHealth New Jersey is here to help you know more about your options, whether you need health insurance for your family or your business. No one cares more about keeping New Jersey healthy than AmeriHealth New Jersey. You can view this program live and email your questions from our website. Follow the links to reach us on Facebook and Twitter. To text your questions, send NJ to 89,000. Governor Chris Christie in studio for the November edition of Ask the Governor. 1-800-283-1015 is our telephone number. Let's talk to Michael in Eatontown. Michael, you're on Ask the Governor with Chris Christie. Hi, Michael.
Gentlemen, thank you for taking my call.
Sure.
I'm a small business owner in New Jersey, and I know the Super Bowl is right around the corner. I wanted to know if there's any programs in place that give New Jersey businesses first dibs on maybe being a vendor in the parking lot.
No, the vendor in the parking lot. There won't be any vendors in the parking lot. The only people who will be in the parking lot will be the people who actually have tickets who are going in. There's no tailgating allowed. This is not like a normal football game.
Well, they came out with an announcement today that there's going to be some type of limited tailgating, but not the way that you were saying.
Yeah, I saw that today.
That's not really tailgating.
No, not the way New Jersey people see it. And the opportunities that folks will have, it's there's the vending that goes on in the stadium.
Yeah.
The NFL brings in the rest of it.
Yeah.
The opportunity for New Jersey businesses are going to be those businesses that that are in and around the Meadowlands, the hotels, the restaurants, the bars, and the entertainment complexes around the Meadowlands will have that opportunity, as will the ones in New York City, obviously, as well. So that's what the real opportunity will be. But we're not bringing in a separate set of vendors to go and do things.
Does it bother you that they're doing like the Media Day and Radio Row and all that kind of stuff in New York instead of in New Jersey?
I think Media Day's with us. I think Media Day's at the Rock.
Is the actual Media Day at the Rock?
Yeah, I believe Media Day.
Okay, maybe it's Radio Row and everything, all the broadcasts and everything that are going to be in New York.
Radio Row, I think, is in New York City, but Media Day, where the players meet with the media and do all the interviews, I'm pretty sure that Media Day is at the Rock in Newark.
Okay, I'll have to check the schedule because we were going to consider about doing a week-long broadcast up there for everybody, you know, and but we're not going across the Hudson.
Yeah, no,
we're not New York.
No, and I think but Media Day will be here. The teams practice here.
Okay.
So the media coverage of practice every day will be here. both at the Timex Center, if that's what it's still called, up at the Meadowlands. I can't keep track sometimes.
Yeah.
And the Atlantic Healthcare Center in Florham Park, where the Jets train. That's where the AFC team will train. And so their practices will be here every day. There'll be a number of parties here that'll be hosted here in New Jersey. So I've been pretty happy with the way it's been split up. Eric, I mean, it's, New York City has certain advantages. We have certain advantages. In the end, though, the game's being played here, not New York.
Yeah.
So everybody will be here. Everybody will be in New Jersey on February 2nd for Super Bowl 48.
I hope that is spread on the TV and it's not just,
Yeah, no. You're looking live at East Rutherford, New Jersey.
Yeah.
That's what you're going to hear.
Excellent. Jane in Hillsborough, you're on Ask the Governor with Chris Christie. Hi, Jane.
Hi, good evening. Thank you so much for taking my call. I live in Hillsborough, and I just have a dilemma. For about the last 5 years, unfortunately, I live next to a home that's in the process of foreclosure with a bank. And unfortunately, as a citizen of New Jersey, I'm responsible for my property. But so many people who do live next to these homes that are in the foreclosure process and they're bank-owned, the banks do not take care of the property. They hire maintenance companies, but the maintenance company is not doing what they should. And me, in my case particularly, I still have down trees on the property from Hurricane Irene, Hurricane Sandy. I have to pretty much beg the bank to do anything. There's dead trees that I've told them if they fall down again, in Sandy it ripped off the electricity from my home because of the trees on the property next door to me. Can you tell me what are you doing to help people who unfortunately live next to these homes?
Well, Jane, we can have the Commissioner of Banking and Insurance look into this, but I will tell you that this is predominantly a local issue. What ordinances are in effect in the town, and the town having to enforce the ordinances on the condition of the property. It's really not a state government issue. Now, I'm happy to have Commissioner Kobolowski look into it, and I know he's listening tonight, and he can look into it. But I think what he's going to come back and tell me, Jane, is that you should be, going to see the mayor and the council and say, listen, if you have ordinances in effect regarding the maintenance of the property, as you mentioned before, that's a local ordinance, a local requirement regarding the maintenance of your property, the shoveling of sidewalks, all those different things, then they need to be enforced. And if the banks are not complying and the companies that are being brought in are not complying, then they need to be fined where appropriate under the local ordinance to enforce it. That's what we do in New Jersey most of the time to handle these things. So, we'll try to help, but I will tell you that I think predominantly that's a question for your local government, and one where the mayor, the local, and the local folks there have to be the ones to enforce those ordinances.
Deanna in Pemberton Township, you're on Ask the Governor with Chris Christie. Hi, Deanna.
Hey, how are you guys doing?
Good, Deanna. How are you?
I am well, thank you. Thank you so much for taking my call. I'm actually probably one of the few people in my generation who care enough about politics to actually speak my mind in social settings and
Good.
Get out there and vote and pay attention to things. And as a mother in New Jersey to small children, I need to know, please, nobody can seem to explain to me, and if anybody can, Governor, it's you, why exactly we are the highest taxed, as far as property taxes, state in the country.
Yep, I can explain it to you. A few reasons. First of all, we fund the overwhelming majority of our educational costs, K-12 education, through the property tax. Second, we have some of the highest and most expensive K-12 education in the country. We pay on average $17,400 per pupil per year, which is the second highest in the country. Third, we have 566 municipalities in New Jersey, all of whom want to have their own mayor, their own police force, their own DPW, their own chief financial officer, their own health officer, their own zoning officer, their own code enforcement. That all adds to costs. And so that's just three of the reasons, Deanna, why this is the case. And until we're willing to engage in wholesale shared services and consolidation, until we're able to put some control in regarding the spending that we have on education. We're not going to be able to bring property taxes down unless you go to a whole different way of funding education in our state. And I just want to give you some perspective on that. I think we spend about $29 or $30 billion through property taxes on education in the state. The income tax now, which is one of the highest income taxes in America, the income tax now raises about $11 billion. So if you wanted to, and $9 billion of that $11 billion goes right back to education. So if you wanted to say, let's say, replace the property tax for education with an income tax, you'd have to come close to tripling the income tax. So we have a multiplicity of government problem. We have a spending problem on education at $17,400 per pupil per year. And we have a situation where the state, the individual municipalities have been unwilling to deal with this level of spending. And I've tried by putting a cap on property taxes, which has been, effective. It's kept property tax increases under 2% each year for the last 2 years. But that's it, Deanna. It's not a whole lot more complicated than that.
You had an interesting invitation to New Yorkers this month. The new mayor in the city has made no secret of his tax plans. So Jersey is open for anybody who wants to make the trip across the Hudson.
Sure. I mean, listen, and I know Mayor de Blasio reacted poorly to that. And it wasn't said in a flippant way. I mean, we have totally different philosophies. Mayor de Blasio believes that taxes should be increased. He campaigned on that. And what I'm saying to those folks whose taxes are going to be increased, they won't be increased over here. So would you rather come over here and spend a little less on government? If you do, we're happy to welcome you to New Jersey. And that's not a shot at Mayor de Blasio. It is simply a statement of fact based upon how he campaigned.
Yeah.
So I was interested that they all reacted as poorly as they did over there in the transition team of Mayor de Blasio. I mean, he's certainly not backing off the idea that he wants to raise taxes. And the people who have to pay those taxes may decide to vote with their feet, like a lot of people voted with their feet when New Jersey was raising taxes under Jim McGreevey and Dick Cody and John Corzine and Barbara Buono.
So would you anticipate, or would you even engage in an aggressive campaign to draw New Yorkers over here?
See, that's a good thing about New York. We wouldn't have to.
Yeah.
We're in the same media market. So if Steve Sweeney will work with me to cut spending in order to cut taxes, that'll get a lot of publicity. If we're lowering income taxes in New Jersey at the same time that Mayor-elect de Blasio's increasing income taxes on the people of New York City. And so we wouldn't have to do some aggressive campaign. All we'd have to do is just do it. It's not like we're campaigning in Colorado or Idaho or New Mexico or Arizona, someplace where you'd really have to engage in an aggressive advertising campaign. We're all in the same media market, so they would know.
Charles in Atlantic City, you're on Ask the Governor with Chris Christie. Hi, Charles.
Hi, Charles. How you doing, Governor Christie?
Hey, Charles. How you doing?
Pretty good. First, I want to congratulate you on your second victory to being our governor, and I love the fantastic job that you're doing in our great, lovely state.
Thank you, buddy. I appreciate it.
I heard you 2 weeks before the election. You had mentioned that you'd be willing to take more of a governing role here in Atlantic City. My question I ask, would that affect us too at the Housing Authority? Because we need change here, Governor Christie.
You do. And Charles, I think you're getting it. You elected a new mayor. That was probably the biggest upset of election night.
Yeah, it was.
The fact that Mayor Lorenzo Langford is finally, thankfully, been shown the door by the people of Atlantic City, and Don Guardian is the new mayor-elect. I've met with Mayor-elect Guardian already. The Senate President and I met with him together in my office in Trenton last week, and we're already beginning to work on bringing change, Charles, to a lot of things in Atlantic City. Now, there's a lot of stuff to be undone from a lot of years of mismanagement there. But both myself and the Senate President are prepared to be partners with Don Guardian in trying to bring the kind of change we need to bring to Atlantic City. So Don's already working with members of my administration to try to recruit some new folks to Atlantic City government and to try to make sure that we fix some of these problems. So I'm actually really encouraged by the mayor-elect's attitude when he came in to visit with me last week. And he got an assurance from me and the Senate President that we're willing to work with him.
Let's talk to Bruce in Washington. Bruce, you're on Ask the Governor with Chris Christie. Hi, Bruce.
Hi, how you doing, Governor? Congratulations on your reelection.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for taking my call. My question's in regards to the New Jersey DEP. Not so much about them, but the fact that for the NOx racked annual combustion on boilers that meet the requirements, the DEP requires us to input data from a machine that analyzes in parts per million. It analyzes CO2, this NOx gas, which is capital N, capital O, lowercase x. Don't ask, it just goes on and on. But if I have no problem, and I don't think people have a problem just inputting the data, the problem is on the website, when you input the data, the last two columns of the before and after adjustment, they make you convert from parts per million to pounds per BTU. And that's a physics equation, not something for like a landlord or somebody running a facility or with these boilers. And my question is simple. If it's so important to have this converted, why can't the DEP create a website that has that conversion table? Or why can't the conversion table be right there for people, laymen like myself, to do this? And that's simply my question.
Wow.
Hey, Bruce?
$1,000 fine.
Bruce, you there?
Yes, sir. Yes,
okay, sir. Bruce, you're going to be shocked to know I have no damn idea.
No,
I mean, I have no damn idea. But let me tell you something. If $1,000 fine were on the line and I had to convert something from parts per million to pounds per BTU, I'd be paying $365,000 worth of fines a year. There's no chance I could do it. So Bob Martin, I'm sure, is listening out there, the DEP commissioner. If I weren't going on vacation tomorrow, I'd get Bob to the office tomorrow and ask him to do the conversion personally from parts per million to pounds per BTU. Bruce, someone from the DEP is going to call you tomorrow and explain this to you. And when I get back from vacation, they're going to explain it to me and why you're right. Why can't we have a program that automatically converts it from parts per million to pounds per BTU?
And then you can come back next month and explain it to all of us.
Well, yeah, and then I can figure out what NOx is as well. Because I always thought it was like Fort Knox, and that's where gold was. But I'm not making light of your problem because it's obviously a big deal. But on the other hand, I don't know the answer. So you're going to find out the answer from Bob Martin. And the good news for me is I'm going to find it out too. Yeah. And I don't understand why we can't have our IT folks just put that conversion, make that conversion either automatic or, as you said, put a conversion table on there to make it easy for people to make the conversion. So, that's the great thing about this show. Like, who the hell would have ever thought that one of the questions when we started this thing 4 years ago, Bob Martin just said, got it.
You just made his night.
I made Bob's night tonight. But who would have ever thought 4 years ago, Eric, when we started this adventure, that one of the questions we'd get is, why does the DEP require that NOx be converted from parts per million to pounds per BTU? I mean, usually, like in the first year of this program, people were just screaming at me. Yeah. Now I'm getting these kind of questions. So,
I miss those days a little bit.
Yeah, I don't. But we've really evolved. So Bruce, I'll get you. Bob Martin will get to you tomorrow about this, and he's already texted in with his got it. So you'll hear from Bob tomorrow, and I'm glad that small business owners like Bruce are calling in to raise these kind of issues. Because hell, if I knew we required people to do that, but it takes time and energy and sometimes money, and it doesn't make any sense.
Let's talk to, let's go to Gabrielle in Turnersville. You're on Ask the Governor with Chris Christie. Hi, Gabrielle.
Hi, thank you so much for taking my call. Good evening.
Hey, Gabrielle.
Hi. I am a second career nurse, and I just passed my nursing boards on November 9th.
Congratulations.
Thank you. And I'm trying to acquire my license number from the state as I have a wonderful job offer, but unfortunately, I can't get the license number. They're telling me it's going to take at least 30 days.
Oh.
And once
No,
Yeah.
No, Gabrielle. I hope that Attorney General John Hoffman is listening out there, because this is under the jurisdiction of the Department of Law and Public Safety. And someone from Law and Public Safety, Colin, let's make sure of this in case the Attorney General is working on other weighty matters and not listening to Ask the Governor. much to his chagrin. And make sure that we get somebody. Gabrielle, we're going to get somebody back to you tomorrow. That's unacceptable. I want you past your boards. I want to get you to work as quickly as we can. You passed your boards on November 9th. We're sitting here tonight on November 25th. We should be able to get you a number so you can get a job. So let's get working on that. Someone will call you tomorrow, Gabrielle, to help you with that. Great.
Thank you so very much.
Thank you. Congratulations, and welcome to your new career in New Jersey.
Excellent.
Thank you. I'm very excited. Thank you. Have a good evening.
Thank you. You too.
So I got an email question from Debbie, and actually a lot of them here. It is likely before the end of the year the legislature is going to send you this bill granting in-state tuition and state aid to undocumented residents of the state. You considering signing it? Will you sign it?
Depends on what it looks like when it gets to me. There are a number of problems with the bill right now.
The Senate and Assembly versions don't match up.
Correct.
Right? Yeah.
There's a number of problems with the Senate bill that I've made very clear to the Senate president, and that Senator Ruiz, my staff has made very clear to Senator Ruiz. They decided to pass it in the form it's in now. In the Senate form, I would not sign it. Now, lots of things can happen between now and when the Assembly passes it, but they're making it. They're overreaching, and they're making it unsignable, and they're putting it beyond not only their technical problems with it that need to be fixed, but they're also making the benefits richer than the federal program, than Federal Dream Act. And that's simply not acceptable to me. And so I want tuition equality for folks, but I don't want a program that's richer than the federal program and richer than other states, which could make us become a magnet state for people. That's not what it's intended. Remember the example that people use, which is a compelling one, which is we've been educating children for 8, 10, 12 years at $17,000 a year or more. And then when that child wants to go for higher education, we make them pay as if they haven't been in New Jersey. I understand that. I think it's a compelling argument. But the bill as drafted now does not do that. It expands it significantly beyond that. And so I'm very hopeful that we'll be able to work this out with the Assembly, that they'll be able to change the bill to put it in a form where it's not more generous than the federal program, where they can fix the technical problems. And you got a situation now where, let's say you go to boarding school here in New Jersey. Let's say you live in Pennsylvania, you go to boarding school at Lawrenceville. You could get in-state tuition.
Right.
But if you were here with all your documentation, you could not.
You could not.
I mean, I think most people in New Jersey would just go, well, that's stupid.
Yeah.
Let's fix that. We asked the Senate to fix it. They didn't. And so in the current form, in the Senate's current form, I will not sign it. Now, they've got time to fix it between now and January 14th, and I hope they will. If they do, I will. If they don't, I won't.
You have been critical of the Affordable Care Act, Obamacare, when we've talked in the past. New Jersey opted for the federal exchange instead of our own program. We all know the well-documented problems with the rollout of this exchange. Do you regret the decision to go with a federal program? Some of the states, or most of the states that have their own program, have fared better, at least in terms of...
Well, says what? Because in Oregon, they're taking paper applications because their website hasn't worked.
Yeah. But don't you think we could have run it better?
I have no idea, because we weren't able to control it. In Utah, they had an exchange that's been working for more than a decade, and the Obama administration wouldn't let them do the exchange the way they had been doing it for a decade, made them change it, and it's created all kinds of problems. And so they've gone to a federal exchange. I mean, this is just an awful law that made no sense, and that's why I didn't get into a state exchange. So, no, I have absolutely no regrets. In fact, I'm really glad that the train wreck's not mine.
Yeah.
It's his.
Yeah.
And listen, and this is like this, promise that you can keep your insurance. You can't. And everybody's seen that across the country. Yeah. And now he said, well, you can, but even for those people who you say, well, okay, now the companies can renew them, there's still strings attached to them. They can't renew. Let's say you have a regular basic benefits policy, right? If you want to renew that, you'd believe, based on listening to the president on November 14th, they can just renew your policy, right?
Yeah.
Wrong.
Yeah.
Here's what happens. The annual cap has to come off. You now have to pay for preventative care. You now have to pay for a bunch of other things that those things don't currently have, which means your premiums are going to skyrocket. If you want this quote-unquote same policy back, except it's not the same because it's layered on with more Obamacare requirements. This is a disaster. And it was a train wreck that anybody who's managed anything ever in their lives could have seen coming. We wrote, by the way, Eric, we wrote in 2010 to the administration, then Commissioner Constantine did, saying, Mr. President, under this law, we've done the analysis. You cannot keep your insurance if you like it. We wrote to them in 2010 about that.
There's been a big spike in Medicaid applications in New Jersey, and the federal government is sending hundreds of millions of dollars to help cover that. But then you have the issue of many doctors that aren't going to accept Medicaid or aren't going to accept exchange plans. Are you concerned about that? What's the net benefit or detraction to the taxpayer here?
Well, it's going to be a net benefit to the taxpayer ultimately. And the day it becomes no longer a net benefit to the taxpayer, I won't do it anymore. And that's why I did it the way I did it.
Yeah.
Not passing a statute, but doing it by executive action. Because if the president and his administration don't keep to their word, then I won't do it. So it'll be a net benefit to the taxpayer. The problem is that this entire Obamacare program is a failure. It's a failure, and people are seeing it starkly and clearly right now, and the president is scrambling. He should have just told everybody the truth from the beginning. But you know what? If he had, they wouldn't have passed it. Not even Democrats would have passed this.
You know, I would have come up and selected an email question, our crazy question of the month, but I don't know that I could actually beat the Knox question that we had earlier.
And maybe say that guy's serious as a heart attack about the Knox question.
Absolutely.
Too,
if that's your business, I understand that.
Yeah.
Sure.
It's his life. But you got something for me?
So, well, I mean, I was going to ask you about Thanksgiving, but you're going away.
I'm going away.
So, you're not, all the traditional Thanksgiving stuff.
Won't be with me.
You're not going to be having any of that.
No, I won't be with me this year.
So, but let me ask you this, though. What is the one Thanksgiving tradition that you will take with you no matter where you go?
Wow. I don't think we have one that we can take with us because everything that we have kind of surrounds the preparation of the meal.
Yeah.
Like I always make the mashed potatoes.
That was somebody else asked. What does the governor cook? Does he cook?
I do the mashed potatoes.
Okay.
And just recently, I've gotten an outstanding corn pudding recipe from Port Authority Chairman David Sampson.
Wow.
His original corn pudding recipe. And I make that too now. But I'm not going to be making anything because I'm going to be on the beach.
Nice. Well, enjoy your time away. Come back tanned.
I will. You know that.
So, and we will see you. Yes, I do know that. And we will see you in December.
I am looking forward to December. New Jersey, happy Thanksgiving. And I'm looking forward to seeing you next month.
If you missed any portion of tonight's program, you can get a complete audio and video replay on our website. Ask the Governor is presented by the Lester Glenn family of dealerships.
Hi, this is Adam Kraushar from Lester Glenn Auto Group. We are proud to sponsor Ask the Governor. It's your chance to talk to Governor Christie directly and tell him how you feel. The chance to find out how and why decisions are made and address issues directly. Good things are happening in New Jersey, and we are happy to announce that Lester Glenn has now added Ford to our family of dealerships. Lester Glenn Ford is on Route 35 in Ocean Township in Monmouth County. The Lester Glenn Auto Group continues to be New Jersey's fastest growing and largest auto dealership in the state, and we have been in business in Ocean and now Monmouth County for 57 years. In the last 5 years alone, we've grown to 11 dealerships with 9 locations and employ close to 500 people. One thing is certain, we always remember what got us here and never take it for granted. It's where you, the customer, is treated with dignity and respect from the moment you walk in. That's what the Lester Glenn experience is all about.
Experience the way car buying should be. Experience Lester Glenn.
Ask the Governor is produced and coordinated by Christopher Knight. Our call coordinator is Chris Schwendeman. The executive producer, Annette Petriccioni. Additional content by Matthew White. Programming support from Eric Johnson. Join us again next month for another Ask the Governor. I'm Eric Scott, and this is the Town Square News Network. Additional support for Ask the Governor on New Jersey 101.5 by AmeriHealth New Jersey. Feeling stressed about the healthcare law? Well, AmeriHealth New Jersey is here to help you know more about your options. Whether you need health insurance for your family or your business, no one cares more about keeping New Jersey healthy than AmeriHealth New Jersey. And your trusted choice insurance agents of New Jersey. To find a trusted choice insurance agent near you, visit trustedchoice.com and discover what it's like to be a person, not a policy number.
With so many choices for insurance today, people are looking high and low for the best deals. But finding the right insurance agent is simple when you know where to look. Look for a trusted choice independent insurance agent, where the right insurance is just around the corner. As a trusted choice agency, your independent insurance agent takes a pledge that they are dedicated to you and committed to treating you as a person, not a policy. To give you the value you deserve, Trusted Choice Insurance agents offer policies from a selection of the nation's most reputable insurance companies, and they can meet any need from auto, home, life, boat, and more. This way, when you choose a local Trusted Choice independent insurance agent, you always get the coverage you need at the price that fits. And finding a Trusted Choice agency is pretty easy. They're just around the corner. To locate a Trusted Choice independent insurance agent in your neighborhood, visit trustedchoice.com. That's trustedchoice.com. Trusted Choice. The right insurance is just around the corner.
If you're like me, then nothing matters more than the health of your family. Well, AmeriHealth New Jersey feels the same way about its members. That's why AmeriHealth New Jersey has the answers you need to understand how the new healthcare law is changing the way you buy health insurance. AmeriHealth believes the more you know about your options, the less stressed you'll feel. No one cares more about keeping New Jersey healthy, and no one is doing more to keep rates affordable. To learn more about health insurance that pays, visit AmeriHealthNJ.com.
WKXW Trenton, WKXW HD. From New Jersey's most listened to station, New Jersey 101.5 Radio News starts